Hello and welcome to Riftbound PhD. This is Raphael, your physics PhD who greatly enjoys playing Riftbound. And today I'm going to go over the deck that I pulled from my recent Unleashed pre-Rift event. I played Nami and Ivern as the legend, and yes, indeed, this is a signature Ivern legend that you see in the background. And it was pulled at that event. Unfortunately, it wasn't in my pre-Rift. Let's get into it. Okay, so here we are sitting at our nice little table. We got our pre-rift kits. These boxes are absolutely amazing. I think it's great value also given the typical prices that you would pay. In Switzerland, it's about 30 Swiss francs, which is probably a bit more than 30 US dollars or euros. So we got the Greenfather Legend, and I kind of was excited to play this. I like many funny zoo cards. So that's cool. But now let's have a look at really the key of these pre-Rift decks, which are, of course, the booster packs. These booster packs sometimes are absolutely stacked, and we start off well with Inferna, the Monk, Moonlight Affliction, a pretty good spell, a bit expensive. Towering Pyrophant, I loved that. The Hunter's Machete, as well as the Starhound next, and then the Soul Shepherd. Forbidding Waste, probably my favorite battlefield that I've played. The Altars of Poro, amazing in Ivern. And also Tactical Retreat, which is a really cool counterspell, saving you a unit. And then here already we have our first big hit. That's the Valmaw green unit. But the alternative art, unfortunately, the lighting here isn't too great, but this is an absolutely beautiful card and also really strong. And I think that almost locks in that we're going to be playing green for this game. Okay, let's get on. Pack number two. And yeah, of course, the chase cards are all the signature legends, as well as the Baron Nashor, the ultimate rarity Baron Nashor. Getting rid of those additional token cards. Here we have a Soul Sword, nice green gear, Sprite Burst, which is a wonderful little spell. Frisky Hunter, again, great for Ivern. And then Starcross, the very strong spell. The little Sage here, Enthralling Protector. Square Up, amazing spell, I have to say, would repeat. Sinister Poro, a absolute menace. And then Starhound. The Grim Apothecary, I think that's a very strong card. So we need to think about playing this. And then Heedless Resurrection as well as a spell from purple. So far, not too shabby, I have to say. The Valmaw, of course, is the corner of our hits up until now. Let's see what the third pack has in store for us today. Can we hit a really big card this time? So Eclipse, very strong spell from blue, and Sharkling, probably. Sharkling has to be my favorite card of the entire set so far, at least from playing it quite a lot. Carrion Dredger as well, pretty nice. Grim Resolve, very strong. Bewitching Spirit, incredibly strong unit, makes the enemy discard one. The Academy, and then Stare Down. Such a cool art, I have to say. Turn to Dust is also quite nice, but I think I wouldn't play it. And here is our beloved Nami. And Nami is just such a pretty card as well. But also she's quite strong because you can play her as just a regular 3/3, but you could also pay one additional power. And here, holy, that's the big hit actually. The Baron Nashor, unfortunately not not any of the special arts, but this is an insanely strong unit. It makes an additional battlefield, and you basically can hold using it probably quite comfortably. So this is definitely an absolute game ender if you get to play this card in the late game. Wow, so these are actually really strong cards that we're pulling here. And I think it looks like we might be playing Ivern and then the purple as a third color, just to have access to this Baron Nashor. Smite is a strong spell. Another monk. The Shepherd's Hurlium is nice. Gemhand Hunter, also very strong. Crescent Guardian. The Stalking Wolf, a wonderful Ivern unit. Travis Noosebottom, also such a cool looking card, I have to say. It's like, this guy just looks like he's so sleepy. Insane. And Galio, wow. Galio is also a really strong unit, I think. It's very cheap, and you can just play it to a battlefield that you've conquered, and you can just put 6 might there, which doesn't deal damage. And then the Wuju Bladesman, Master Yi Legend. So what's kind of nice here is that we haven't pulled that many legends. I mean, of course, you maybe would want to not play Ivern, but I was actually pretty happy to play Ivern. But some of these pack openings that we've been seeing actually had a ton of different legends, and sometimes even 2 legends per pack, and that's absolutely not the case here. So let's get into our last pack. Can we hit big? Fate Weaver, Kinku Initiate, super strong card. Isolate, another amazing spell for purple. And Trevor's Noosebottom again. Ripper's Bay. The Wily Newtfish, also really, really cool card. Good for XP decks. And a foiled Star Spring. The Blood Rose, actually also a kind of cool gear for blue. And then Sumpworks Map. So I think this was it. Overall, I would say actually really, really solid. Amazing pulls that we've been having, especially the Valma, of course. But then also, yeah, this card, she just looks so beautiful. Also, the foiling is gorgeous. The texture is amazing. So already the base art, I think, of this card is really nice, but then the alternative art as well. And of course, here he is, the monster from the Jungle Baron Nashor, the Baron Pit where we get to play it. Alright, so as we said, we played the Green Father Legend. This is very strong in sealed because you can generate all these brush battlefields, and then pretty much all of your units get +1 when they sit in one of those brushes. So any bird, cat, dog, poro, or Ivern unit gets a +1 if they sit in a brush. The chosen champion Nami, also super strong. I didn't really like that much the effect of the green Ivern champion unit that I had. And playing Nami instead just gives you access to a amazing 3/3, so a guaranteed play on your second turn, but also the stun mechanic for her ability is really cool. And you're able to stun units, and with some additional support, you're also able to stun multiple units at battlefields. And so Nami is great backline in this sense. The battlefields, don't really care too much about them. We're just going to immediately turn them into brushes, because with Ivern I don't think you're really going to try and conquer both battlefields at once. Rather, you're going to try and go in and hold one for very long, and then maybe develop some other units in your base to capture the other battlefield when the enemy extends a bit too much. The runes that we played, that was a bit of a big decision, and we had to calculate quite a bit to get to this distribution. The reason being that we have with the Valma and the Baron, of course, large units that also require large amounts of green and purple power costs respectively. But still, we had a bunch of yellow power units and spells that we were playing, and therefore it was important to kind of have all of these colors represented. but because, as you will see, there's just more purple and green cost, that was the distribution we went for. Now for our units, and this is really what Ivern wants to build, a zoo of many different units, many different types. So we have our first cat here, the mutated Mauser, which basically when you play him in Ivern turns into a 4 might tank when he defends, which is just a really nice ability to have. When he sits in a brush he gets +1 plus the shield from his key words. Sinister Poro, also super oppressive, and because we get to do these unfair things in the pre-rift where we can play a third domain, we get to use these super strong purple cards, the Sinister Poro, also the Bewitching Spirit, in this game. So that's really nice. Black Rose Dignitary, I didn't really play her all that much. The Loyal Poro, very nice, 3 for 3, and gives you a draw if he dies. Crimson Pigeons are also great. Usually they turn into a 5 might unit when you send in another unit with these pigeons, and that's quite nice. So you also don't just get shield, you also get a little bit of assault, so to speak, in your kit. Then Galio is kind of the ultimate hold, reinforce, and stay strong unit in the game. Very cheap, 3 in 1, amazing. You can basically capture on turn 2 and then play him into the battlefield, and now suddenly there's 6 might with deflect and tank. Of course he doesn't deal damage, but who needs to deal damage on turn 2 when you have 6 defensive health? So it's kind of hard, I think, to really get rid of him if you play him that way. So Galio, really like playing around him every now and then. Then the Stalking Wolf has the ambush. If you have to sacrifice basically maybe one of your birds or one of the other smaller poros, and then you can play him into the battlefield directly. And he has 6 might, only costs 4 and 1, pretty good ratio, but of course you get rid of one of these birds. The Frisky Hunter is another very interesting card because it spawns a bird, and this means that if you play him into a battlefield, he gets of course to 4 might and the bird gets to 2 might, so for 4 energy you actually generate a total of 6 might, 6 defensive might on that battlefield, which is absolutely absurdly strong. The Ultrasoft Poro spawns birds every single turn that he manages to hold, and with his 5 for 5 it's actually quite possible for him to hold even all by himself, and if the enemy doesn't deal with him, this battlefield gets absolutely swarmed with birds, and it's very difficult to break that defense afterwards. The Starhound gets some of our Poros, stacks, cats, dogs and birds back from the trash. It's nice. I didn't have to play it all that much because, as you can see, there's a lot of birds, cats, dogs and Poros in the deck as such already. And now of course the hero, the late game menace, Valmaw. I noticed in my first game I had to play Valmaw not onto a battlefield but into my base, and then it's really not that strong. On the other hand, it is a really nice comeback trick with the ambush, and if you manage to hold with it, I think it can just solo win you the game. Except for maybe red, most other domains have difficult times getting a single unit over the 8 might, and then if you can pump him up with some spells, he can get even more oppressive. And then when he holds, you draw 1, which is also just really good for late game where you might get a bit low on resources in terms of cards in hand. And then Baron Nashor, the iconic unit. Yeah, there's probably a ton of videos out there explaining how you should play around him. I ended up winning one of my games by basically capturing both battlefields and then playing Baron Nashor to give me the 8th point. That feels quite satisfying. I think it feels quite unfair to the enemy because there's literally pretty much no counterplay to that. So friendship, I know a lot of people don't like it that much, but in this particular game, in this particular format, it was absolutely absurd. You can spawn a number of birds, you have a bunch of poros, cats and dogs already, and you play friendship, and it basically for one generated, I think, 8 additional might onto one of my tank units. Absolutely insane, very, very strong. Of course, it's very conditional. You need to have all of these birds, cats, and dogs in the first place. But yeah, really cute card as well. I absolutely love the art. Tactical Retreat is a nice spell. It allows you to basically bail out one of your units that may have been a little bit overextended. Liked to play with it. Isolate, just very strong. Again, one of these unfair battle tricks, or one of these unfair tricks that we can play when we get access to purple. Soul Harvest didn't really play it much. Heroic Charge, stunning units is nice. Basically, almost the same ability as you can do with our Nami. And speaking of Nami, I promised combat tricks. So if you play your Nami from the chosen champion spot, you can stun a unit by paying 1 green power. And then if you star-crossed her on hand again, while also of course getting rid of one of the enemy units, maybe even at a battlefield, you can then go in with your Nami that's now in hand again, and in one turn actually stun multiple units, 2 units, and return 1 unit from the enemy's holding battlefield back to their hand. And that's just absolutely oppressive. You can then come in with your units and clean up the battle while still having a lot of your units stick around. So by stunning, of course, you still have to kill them, you still have to overcome their HP, but they don't deal combat damage onto your units that you push in. And with all these small poros and dogs and cat units, this is very, very strong. Flurry of Feathers also just catches the enemy off guard. You randomly spawn 4 bird tokens. If you spawn them into a brush, they instantly get 2 might each, so you get 8 might in total immediately, and then you add it on top of the friendship. That's just a very, very nasty combo to play against. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my breakdown of the Ivern-Nami Chaos deck list. Let me know in the comments what you think of it, and hope to see you soon.